There was a ton of stuff that happened in this episode, but for me, the high point of it was really seeing Hisoka's creepy ass, and of course the Phantom Troop as well.
Hunter x Hunter, episode 66, Strategy and Scheme.
Oh boy, was this a good one. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and hunters and Greed Island players of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and adventure-filled Phantom Troop card-heavy tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode, obviously, we were, formally introduced to and kind of got to see front and center again through the Bomber, who, as an enemy, I wasn't super impressed with. As kind of the bad guy, but there's so many different factions and things going on in this arc anyway, it really doesn't matter. And again, it just boils down to a matter of personal preference. He just doesn't strike a lot of fear or angst or anger or any of those things into my heart that normally that kind of villain, would. But anyway, nonetheless, Killua had gone and departed, obviously, for the Hunter exam. And we kind of left off with him, having, basically he's waiting to go and take the exam or whatever, because he got there a few days early. So that's where things left off. And this chapter I've been reading a lot of manga, I watch episodes. This episode is explosive. It's an awesome one. It actually picks up, and Killua has he's kind of gotten the directions on how he's going to go from Gon's buddies, from when Gon and Leorio and Kurapika took the Hunter exam, a year ago now. But anyway, so he winds up getting the directions, and you see through this kind of little montage how he gets there, finds the place, gets down, and he winds up almost running into that little shitbag Tompa, if you remember him, the one that's the rookie killer or whatever he is, the one that fucks with all the rookies. And then he runs into like those three guys, those brothers. Now they're stronger, blah blah blah. What winds up happening is the examiner for this year's Hunter exam comes out and he says, "Listen, we got 1,488 applicants, and we need to narrow it down. The Phase 2 examiner has asked me to narrow it down to about 300. So here's what we're gonna do. You're gonna get 2 hours. I'm gonna go back behind this door over here. When I close the door, it's a free-for-all. It's a battle royal. It starts off, and whoever can bring me 5 tags from somebody that they knock out or defeat or whatever moves on to the next round. Simple as that. See ya. Boom." And this guy's all dressed in like this cool, flashy purple suit and everything. Anyway, he goes back behind the door and sits down and on the stairwell, and he's having himself a smoke, and he's like, "That's how it should be," and blah, blah, right? It goes back out there, because you hear just the melee that starts, right? And it goes back out there, and we see our boy Killua. I mean, just all over the place like lightning, right? And between the fact that he's got his newfound powers that he's learned from training within Greed Island, and that he's just gotten stronger and better and faster since last year. And last year, he was already head and shoulders above 95% of the crowd, right? So anyway, all of a sudden the door opens up, and Killua comes in, and he says, "Okay, it's been an hour and a half. What took you that long to knock out 5 people and take their tags?" And Killua, they show the rest of him. He drags in. He's got the whole fucking bag of tags. He's got all 1,487, because he's the 1,488. Before he got done, he managed to find Zapil. Zapil was trying for the Hunter exam, if you remember him from York New City, the kind of the auction guy that helped him out with the appraiser. And he winds up saying sorry, boom, knocks him out, but gently, The other 3 brothers wind up saying they're going to quit. Anyway, I just thought it was great to go and see Killua go and fuck up 1,487 other applicants. So then Killua goes and he's like, "Okay, is there any more, or what's going on?" So he calls up Chairman Netero, right? And Netero's all sitting, he's like, "Oh," it's like, Killua's gotten stronger since last year. That's cool. Fucking tell him he passed, right? So he's just like, boom, you pass. So Killua passed the Hunter exam. They didn't even have to administer the rest of it. They were just like, whatever, dude. This dude's just going to destroy anything. He made sure he was the only applicant anyway that year that passed. So Killua certainly made a statement. So that's the first few minutes of the actual episode, right? He winds up coming back into the game, and he meets up, of course, with Gon and Bisky. And they've been, practicing and training. They've got a few cards, this and that. They're discussing things. They wind up using this contact card, and once you use it, it'll show you anybody that you've seen or contacted in the game, and then you can contact them, right, via your book. Well, all of a sudden they're scrolling through, and of course everything's in Japanese, and I don't read Japanese, nor do I speak it, but they stop on this one name, and Killua's like, "Holy shit, when did you meet him?" It says, boom, it says Crollo Lucifer, right? So then that kind of takes us into the next portion and arc of the actual game, and I guess this whole kind of journey, because we know the Phantom Troop's been fucking around in Greed Island. They actually went and found Greed Island from the outside, and then Razor, one of the creators of the game, kicked him out and everything else. So we wind up kind of, through a series of events over the next few minutes, we find out that, because Gon's like, I wouldn't have met him, I've never seen him, you know. So then he goes and he says, they break it down, and basically he couldn't get into the game without using Nen, right? But his Nen powers were restricted and taken away by Karabka. So anyway, so they're like, you know what, we better go and contact Karabka and let him know about this. So Killa was like, I'm gonna go, I'll be back in 4 hours, you know. So he's gonna go tell Karabka. He tells him, and he's like, no, nothing seems different, whatever, just kind of seems to be, you know, carefree about it, about what happened. But then we go and we see him, Karabka, go into the room with his boss, Light and Estrad, and he's just sitting there just destitute and poor. He's broke because apparently she no longer has her Nen ability, Neon. It was obviously stolen by Krollo Lucifer. I thought that he could just copy the ability, but apparently it seems like he actually stripped the ability from her because she just doesn't have the ability anymore. So obviously that's what he used as his moneymaker. That was his cash cow. That was his big old fat prize pig, and he don't got it no more. So anyway, then we go and we see the Phantom Troop just kind of hanging out, lurking around in the forest, right, in Greed Island. And we kind of get this whole breakdown from them, and they're like, okay, here's what must have happened. Now, his fortune, the boss's fortune, told him he needed to travel east. Greed Island is directly east of York New City, so he probably just kept traveling east until he got here, but then was kicked out by Razor or somebody, obviously, because you can't enter from the normal means. You know, you only can come through by using your Nen. So then he must have hired someone else to come in here on his behalf using his name, and that was kind of a secret code to us, so we know, right? And then all of a sudden you just hear the creepy pedo laugh, man. Just that like, oh shit, hide your kids, Ahsoka's here. And then all of a sudden Ahsoka walks up, right? And instead of his full, you know, outfit and everything like that, he's down in a sleeveless t-shirt now, just kind of kicking it, right? Like he just got done playing a creepy clown basketball game or something. Anyway, he comes in and says, no, actually, I'm the one that used the name, so we assume that he's working in some fashion with Krollo Lucifer, and that he's trying to actually help him get into the game, or to find somebody that can unseal the Nen, you know, the seal that's obviously on him that prohibits him from using his Nen. There's got to be some way to actually break that seal and to reverse it. And that's really the whole point of the whole mid part of this episode, is that you can reverse it. They just need to find somebody that can do it. So even though most of the Phantom Troop still wants to kill Ahsoka, right, they realize that he's a necessary evil for right now, and that he was probably, you know, hired by the boss or brought on by the boss so he could actually help him to regain his Nen powers. And then, of course, he probably promised him in exchange the actual fight that Ahsoka wants, right? So Ahsoka goes and does his creepy laugh, and he's like, remember to contact me if you need anything, right? And he takes off. So then we go and we see Gon and Killua and Bisky, and they're on this actual, it's really cool, the journey that they go on. It's kind of a montage of them collecting some of these different slot cards that they need. There's 100 of them, right? And they wind up doing all these different types of tasks, and they're like, and Gon and Killua are like high-fiving each other after a few of them. They're like, this is so easy. And Bisky's thinking to herself, yeah, easy. It's only easy because of all the grueling training that you've been through, right? And obviously, when you saw the shit that she put them through over those last few episodes, you know, I feel like, yes, that did take them to the next level they needed to, and it's now making this more simplistic. We also get a check-in, too. Like I said, this was a super-sized episode over here. And we wind up getting a check-in with not only Genthru and his group, but Segura and his group as well. Now, Segura actually has 95 of the cards that he needs out of the 100 to complete the game. They're only showing, or they're only aware of, at least Genthru's group is only aware of them having 92. But what we wind up finding out and seeing these two groups, because Segura actually goes and uses contact. This whole episode was all about using the contact card, is what it was about. Everybody contacted everybody through there, it seemed like, or told somebody to, like, hey, contact me, you know, text me, bitch. Anyway, so Segura winds up, you know, going and saying, hey, listen, would you trade for the, you know, the Archangel card that they have, right? And then he winds up trying to make him another deal, and Genthru wants to have nothing to do with him. So Segura winds up eventually going and giving him, you know, this deal that's too good to be true. It's an SS rank and 2 S rank cards for 1 A rank card that they need, right? And we wind up seeing, you know, they don't want to take the trade. They may take the trade. They maybe think it's a trap. They maybe don't. Again, this Genthru doesn't really strike a whole lot of fear into me. But what we wind up seeing, though, is that there's these thing. I forget what it's called exactly. I don't know if it's called the chance dice or the luck dice or the. It's a die that you get that's a 20-sided die. and you have a 19 out of 20 times you should roll. 19 of the sides are for good. They're for luck rolls, where you can use that luck to then go and pull a slot machine, or to go and take a card that you might have and change it into something you want. But if you do get bad luck, that 1 in 20 chance, you die. You can literally die. And that's kind of the other, I guess, high point or focal point of this particular episode. We wind up seeing they go to, as Bisky and Gon and Killua, you kind of go back and forth seeing them going around collecting these cards. Then they wind up actually going to like this gambling city, and they're in a casino. And Killua decides that he's going to go, and that's how we are first introduced to this dice. He's going to go and roll this bad boy, and he figures he's got more chances of winning than not. And he's like, it's not that's going to kill me anyway. He winds up going and pulling the slots. He gets 3 7s, and he winds up getting like a special card, an S rank card or an A rank card, something like that, a very good card, you know. And then we wind up going and seeing another character, and all of a sudden he blows up like an explosion because he falls to the ground. And then somebody's like, yeah, that guy said he was like yelling and hooting and hollering about he won like 5 times in a row. And then they go and they see one of the dice roll out by him, the dice. So he obviously got bad luck. And it's kind of funny because it's immediately after Killua says, yeah, getting the bad luck, it's not like it'll actually kill you, right? Well, apparently it can, you know. So we also wind up seeing, as we check back in with Genthru's group while they're debating whether they're going to trade with Sagara or not, they have a couple of their guys that they're forcing to use the die on. And, you know, and obviously go, and then they wind up, if they get a good luck roll, they can then go and take this card and then go and actually be able to change it, and hopefully change it into one of them that they need, because they have something like 90 cards, I think, or something like that. So both of those groups, Sagara and Genthru, they're in there, man. They're balls deep into Greed Island. They've been in here for a while. The thing that I really liked here, and really the thing that wrapped it up for me, because Genthru winds up going eventually saying, okay, we'll take your deal, and they're going to trade with Sagara. And that's kind of how the episode winds up ending off. We see that Gon and Killua, in a short period of time, just a few days, were able to collect 7 or 8 out of the 100 slotted cards. And they're just having a good time, man. And that's what it's all about. It truly is. When you're playing a game, even though this is a game that you could live or die in, it really is about having a good time, man. It's not about getting all stressed out and just, you know, oh, I gotta win or I'm gonna be so angry, you know. So it really is. It's about having the fun of it. And that's why I really enjoyed this episode, because that was the focal point. And we wind up seeing that now we got our creepy boy Hisoka, right? We look Hisoka, all creepy. We got Hisoka in the game, and then certainly the Phantom Troop as well. And whatever they're going to try to do, you know, with the whole situation with Kroll Lucifer. So I think that a lot of that stuff is really cool too, and it adds many different factions and facets to this arc. And for me, that helps to kind of bring it up and make it a lot more interesting and a lot more fun, as opposed to if it just focused on, you know, one particular group and Gon and Killua being against that group. So that's how the episode ends off. And my episode question for you, brothers and sisters, is if you had a die like that, where you had, you know, it was only a 1 in 20 chance of you getting killed or getting the bad luck and getting hurt or killed, but more oftentimes than not, good things would happen, and you could have, you know, money beyond your wildest dreams, beautiful women or men, whatever, cars, whatever it is you want. How many times would you roll that die before you'd start to think twice about it, or really just in general? How many times would you push it and roll that die? Because the episode ends off with Killua's still there, going to roll it again, and Bisky eventually has to knock his little ass out, and then we see Gon carrying him off into the sunset as they go make their way to the next town. But she very well could have saved Killua's life. So if you had a 1 in 20 chance of winning, but the downside was if you hit that one time, you'd lose and die, how many times would you roll it? Leave your answer to that question in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We look forward to catching all of you hunters in the next one, Nation. Do you like sexy secretaries? If you do, remember to subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and maybe you'll see more sexy secretaries.